Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, October 31st. We want to acknowledge Halloween because we all know what that is truly about. 2023, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We're having a time for change call tomorrow night, around 9 p.m. Eastern. There's a lot of questions that have come in on varying subjects. We're going to discuss the reality of the planet. So what is life about? I mean, we enter bodies and we have life and we experience life and then we leave the bodies. What is the reason for that? Why do we do that? We really don't have to do it. It's not like we're forced to do it. But can you imagine that when you go out of body, that you don't have really any recollection, and what you do recall in that life you just left fades quite quickly. So it's like you come in, we enter the body, we experience a life. Because most of us don't know how to access the grand library. Every one of us have it. We just don't know how to go about getting there, knowing. And to know certain things to help us in this life, the life that we have now. But when we do come, it's like it's almost like a new run every time, which will end. But when we do come, we discover how exciting it is to be in a physical form. We don't know that we're creating it. Some of us, maybe a little bit, we know that we create it all for ourselves. But the majority aren't there with that yet. So you look at our lives, pretty much are meant to be dangerous. We've got to always be in a situation where we don't fall asleep. And for us to realize that everything is perfect exactly the way it is. Now, a lot of people would argue that because we have the ego-mind perception that, well, no, it's not. I'm not this, and I don't have this, and this is good. So how can you say it's perfect? When all along, we're the ones that are actually creating every step of the way. And then people will say, well, what about all the stuff that just comes in? Stuff that out of the clear blue. Where does that come from? It comes from us. And the only imperfections that exist that we view as imperfections, where do those come from? They're created by the mind. So everything is either a misguided projection, a highly creative interpretation, a decorated perception of perfection forming in our brain. So if we were to meditate on this one simple truth, which will liberate us from many years of suffering, the only imperfections that exist are those created by the mind. Everything is either a misguided projection, a highly creative interpretation, or a decorated perception of perfection forming in our brain. Just meditating on that grouping right there. So then everything is perfect as it is. All imperfections that we see are imaginary, illusions, if you will. If we can dwell on this concept and hold on to it for even a few minutes, we will notice that we will start to feel lighter, have more inner clarity, and a sense of spiritual freedom throughout our day. Abiding in this understanding opens up 1,001 doorways to the divine. We kind of ride the wave of superficiality. We're on the surface of life. Do you imagine if somebody's really asleep and you need to wake them up? And I'm not saying that their eyes are closed and they're fast asleep and you can't wake them up. But you know they're asleep and you go, boy, got to wake this person up. Got to wake them up. What usually will wake people up? Something that they have no clue about it happening. And when it does, it takes them totally by shocking surprise. It's like some of us choose to live a life a certain way. And we pretty much, we decide that this is the kind of life we want to live. And you know what happens? Because we focus on it, we don't fixate on it, we're not attached to it. And so we live that kind of life, even amongst everybody else living different lives, right? You determine the life there's no debate on this. You determine the life that you live. Nobody else does. No happenstance, no you determine the life that you want to live. Now, I know it's kind of crazy because some people say, well, I didn't determine to live in poverty. Well, stop a minute and think. Where has your focus been? Where has your attention been? And that's the life you live. Now, a lot of us are so stubborn we will disagree with that and fight that and say there's no way, there's something else that's involved with this. And we have to, we've got to be careful because this is just another power that's influencing everything. That's true, but you know what the power is? It's all of us collectively. It's a collective consciousness. God is pure consciousness. Life. And so we create everything that you could, there's nothing impossible. That was portrayed here and instilled, programmed here on this planet a long time ago, that there are parameters, which means that you, any of us, it's impossible for us to create it. That's one of the biggest lies that you could ever be told. What happens to a civilization that's been programmed? like we know this. It's not like we don't know it. We know that we've been, these bodies, which I should say, have been, manipulated, and the past, things that have happened in the past have been changed, rearranged, so that we don't have any connection to it. It's so miscombobulated. But what the important factor is that we're in the now. See, a lot of this, it distracts us through life because we get caught up on these journeys to find something out, right? And it consumes our whole life. And the majority of the times we never find it out. Isn't the purpose of being in physical form is for us to enjoy it? Wouldn't that be true? Now, of course, we create things for ourselves that are going to challenge us, and some of them unbeknownst to us. You imagine if we knew everything that was going to happen for ourselves? You realize how bored we would all be. It'd be fun at first, of course. But as time went by, maybe a few generations, who knows, we would all be bored to tears. So we've got an illusion, a mind, right? Our mind is an illusion, which creates the ego to assist it, which is also an illusion. We have the separation of illusion. See, that's an illusion. But the separation plays an important role, which gives each of us kind of an individuality when we're in physical form. Yet we're still one. But the illusion shows us that we're not one. We're not together. We're separate, which in some ways allows us to experience in different ways. When we discover our spiritual foundation, the experience that we are all-powerful, super-manifesting beings. We are. That's a no-brainer. Even though that you perceive things because of around you, the show that goes on all the time. A lot of us look at ourselves because of how we're programmed that we're weak and there's no way that we have any kind of superpower and blah, blah, blah. That's just because of programming and we're too attached to the physical form. But when we discover our spiritual foundation, the experience that we are all powerful, super manifesting beings becomes evident and obvious. This universe blasts us with synchronicities, unveiling the truth that we are all one unified being, connected to the same cosmic source. And our mission here is to believe this. And knowing this truth allows us to know ourselves as divine. Take out all of the words on this planet, all the phonetics and all the descriptions, definitions, and all the different words, right? It's interesting because we're here to believe, to discover, right, that we are all powerful, super manifesting beings. Now, when you look collectively at everyone, we're nowhere near that, are we? So then our mission here, should we decide to accept it, is to believe this. And knowing this truth allows us to know ourselves as divine. You could say you're human, right? Because you're occupying a human body, right? So you say you're not just human. You have the God-given manifesting power within you to create, attract, and magnetize anything you can dream of. There's no blocks, only those that we create for ourselves. And when we finally figure this out, that we are, all of us, manifesting 24/7. So people say, well, I dream of this and I dream of that. Nothing happens. Most of the time we are in our own way. And we get a lot of guidance, see? Because when you begin to open up, drop the walls around the heart, and understand and be vulnerable, and then understand that you are the God in the body and the body, as long as you inhabit it. So when you attract something, it is a knowing. It isn't an arrogance. That's ego mind. We're talking heart mind. It's a knowing. You just know deep within you that what you have sent out to the universe is going to come to you. And it's going to be for you, not against you. And you leave it alone. But see, we have a tendency, none of us are exempt from it, where we will go in and mess with it, so to speak. And we'll block it. Because then the ego mind kicks in and says, well, what if it doesn't happen? What are you going to do then? All these thoughts come in, which are not your thoughts. They're the ego minds and other people's. So when they come in, of course, it disrupts things. When you start out, you feel very confident, faith. You have a lot of, 100% confidence, faith, and trust in yourself and the universe. So boom. But then these little pestering thoughts start coming in. And then you get these little things of doubt that follow with it. Every one of those negate the dream for manifesting. Now many don't know that. They just think, well, it just doesn't work. And of course, to eliminate that habit, it takes practice. And you start to focus on that you begin to notice that whatever you place your focus on, so you're focused on something, right? Could be anything. But now you begin to notice that whatever you place your focus on, focus or attention upon, is what you create, you manifest into your life. You move energy into form, you create it into reality, and then you experience it. Now, you could try this on yourself anytime. You focus on thoughts that make you happy, empowered, abundant, and free. Just those areas. With no attachment. See? No expectations, no attachment. You just are. It just flows. Unfettered. What will happen is that you will start to notice that you will attract more people and situations that mirror those positive, joyful experiences back to you. When you get around a bunch of people that you go, wow, what a drag, right? These people are all negative. They're all doom and glooming it. Somehow you created that energy to attract those kinds of people around you. This is why we talk about in the meditations of going within is the only way we will discover all of this. And we have all the help we need. Because we're literally, the gods that we are, plugged into all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Beyond consciousness. We're plugged into that. So it doesn't mean if you're the archangels, the cherubim, the seraphim, the archetypes, all of that, the ascended masters. We're plugged, we're one. That's literal. We are one. And so we're plugged into all that. We haven't come to the understanding that that's the case with us and everyone. See, now, understand that if you understand all the life, all the species, all the civilizations, we are all one. We don't view the physical form. We are the gods in the physical forms. That's the part where we're all one. Isn't it crazy? Some civilizations, most civilizations, are afraid to show themselves to us because they view the surface. They don't understand what's within. We are unmitigatingly much more powerful than the mind can comprehend. We are such powerful beings that there is nothing we cannot manifest in this physical dimension. We begin to understand and uncover by going within that the mind is too small. It's too limited. It's too conceptual and too narrow-minded to digest the immensity of who we are. Only the heart is big enough to tap in to the immensity of our being, and still it will fall short. We have our spiritual essence is without borders in time, space, or energy. We are timeless, beyond physical magicians, sailing through an eternal ocean of time and energy. We are one with the infinity. This meeting is the unveiling of our true spiritual essence. And by taking responsibility for this meeting inside, our real power begins to emerge in our lives. We naturally begin attracting and creating everything our heart was dreaming about. So what we do is we clear things out. We kind of empty the bucket and then wash and rinse and dry it before we start putting new things into it. Now, this is why when we look at all different walks of life on this planet, some happy, some sad, some hateful, some loving, it's a plethora of different, huge diversity. But it's all been programmed. And as we find out that there is an unlimited source of energy, creativity, love, lightness, and compassion inside, we immediately start experiencing how truly enjoyable this life actually is. This makes it so much easier to surrender to the magical manifesting mindset. We see our real mission here is to be what? Stress-free. How do we know that? Well, it doesn't take much to understand that stress is the cause of all of these bodies we're in downfall. So we see our real mission here is to be stress-free, to deeply fall in love with our lives, and to trust this world so deeply that we truly let go of all our fears. Truly let go, not superficially, not faking it. Now, with nothing to fear, we all become a brilliant light for everyone on this earth to enjoy. Now, we know, even though some people in this society may be completely unable to relax and trust this life, it doesn't mean for us to be offended by them. So, don't be offended by them. They are deeply unaware of their infinite spiritual nature, and they need us to help them find it again. I'm not talking about converting. That's religion. Most people live in some energetic poverty because they are simply stuck in their minds. I think all of us have been stuck in our minds at one time and afraid of being responsible for the immensity of their life. This spiritual connection is so huge that they would rather keep safe, holding on to their limited excuses of what they cannot do, instead of facing the fact that they are actually creating everything in their lives. The spiritually awake person is the guiding light here to show others how to see their way through the dark. When one's own true nature is known, then there is being without beginning and end. It is unbroken awareness and bliss, from Maharishi. Now, once we are aware of our unlimited spiritual nature, it is not our job to push this idea on anyone. They may not be ripe or ready to receive it quite yet. Humans have been asleep to this understanding for so many centuries that each person needs something karmically specific to them, something quite radical and monumental to shake them from this ancient, deep slumber. The time will come, and it is approaching quite rapidly, when everyone's soul will awaken to this understanding. Everything always happens not on our timeline, right? At the perfect time, as the universe knows better than any of us. So it's not like starting to bother others about waking up. It's just being responsible for opening up deeper into your spiritual connection. Be silent, conscious, and loving with others. Do what inspires you every day. Focus on how you can step more fully into this manifesting mindset in your community and take on this spiritual responsibility just for you. No matter what happens in our life, it's good to know that a great conscious universal source is always on our side. And what I mean by this is that all our judgmental, painful, and emotionally challenging experiences that we're having are the fertilizer for our soul's growth. If we didn't have any of those, what would it be like? No challenges, and it was just like, skip along. Again, we would become super bored. Each challenge pushes us deeper inside ourselves. So we develop the gift to overcome it. Our problems stretch us, expand our boundaries of who we think we are, so that we dive deeper inside more than ever before. Whenever something of this world frightens us, instantly trust this experience is a gift from grace to help step up our vibration and consciousness. Use everything to help you wake up and realize this exciting divine truth today. Can you imagine what it would be like for all of us? And to understand fully, deep within, since everyone is one's own self, whoever does whatever to whomever is doing it only to himself. Ramon Morishi. Now we know we're waking up. You all know that you're waking up. Lastly, as we wake up, we realize that we are all so deeply interconnected to one another. That's when you know you're really waking up, and you feel this deep within you. There truly is no separation from me and you. Just limiting ideas in the mind come between us. Limiting ideas in the mind come between us. There is just pure energy and consciousness that pervades everything and everyone. When enough people realize this experience of oneness, we will all start living from our most enlightened state of being. And this is when we will manifest true world peace. All it takes is about 1 out of 8, 9 people on this planet who have found spiritual inner peace within themselves right now. And just that amount will start a trend that will take over the rest of the population. It is just a matter of time before we are all living at a higher consciousness. In this quiet time of this meditation, visualize this for the world. Everyone is relaxing, shifting into a more trusting, open, receptive, peaceful, caring, and joyful way of being in their communities. Our thoughts are very powerful. And when we focus them in great numbers in a certain direction, miraculous manifestations begin to occur. When enough people are seeing this for our future, it will exponentially spread like a wave throughout the minds and hearts of billions more. One day, we will reach a time when this huge enlightening shift will move through every heart, mind, and soul on our planet. I'll join you in the meditation, and I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still. Shine the light of consciousness into your unconsciousness, and you will illuminate your soul. Right now, there is a massive amount of hidden, unknown, buried material in our unconsciousness. Sometime today, for 30 minutes, bring your awareness into your unconsciousness. How do you do this? Sit in a dark room, close your eyes, relax deeply into your belly and body. Allow any thought to arise that may be hidden beneath the surface. When they do, the instant they enter your mind, imagine you're shining a bright golden spotlight on them immediately. However, this light is so powerful it incinerates the thought, and they dissolve instantly, giving more space for you inside. During this exercise, know that you are safe here, no matter what you experience. Even though you may see nothing and feel nothing, stay present to the void. You may feel your entire body and mind have disappeared. Simply remain present and aware that consciousness is always here. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, following morning. And we will return here Wednesday, November 1, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And around 9 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, and purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you.